Hello everybody, and welcome to the Tavern.
Welcome to the Tavern. We need like a musical intro like that or something.
Right? I mean, we have music, there's just no words.
That's true, that's true.
You want to introduce our topic today?
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about gameplay materials. That incorporates anything that you use to play the game, whether it's dice, minifigures, pencils, so pencils and paper versus electronics, like laptops, tablets, phones, things like that.
Yeah.
And anything kind of in that realm. So, I guess to start off, the reason that I really wanted to do this is because I just played 5th edition for the first time, and I've just been made aware of D&D Beyond, which has probably been available for a while. But for those of you that have not utilized it yet, if you're still hanging back with 3rd, 4th edition, whatever, I highly recommend you give it a shot. My very first exposure to 5th edition, I wouldn't even have played it if I hadn't had access to this, because the idea of solely working through books or like fan-made, like oh man, I can't even remember the source that I used when I was going to play a session with Tyler. Basically, I was very intimidated about the character creation process. But D&D Beyond made it super easy.
Yeah, that's what I used as well to make my character for the first time that we played a few weeks ago. And it was much easier than trying to do it from the 5th edition books.
Saves time, saves paper, and I just love the layout of it. It's very intuitive and it's very user-friendly.
Yeah. Right, because then you can have your character sheet. You can either print it out or you can have it on your computer, on a tablet, on your phone, and it has little tabs that you can select that...
You got like skills, actions, character descriptions, abilities, inventory, all that kind of stuff is broken apart, so that I feel like, especially for people that are new to the game, just looking at a character sheet and figuring out how to read that is a huge challenge to overcome.
It's intimidating when it's just all on one page.
Yeah, your eyes like don't really know where to look. But when they break it down by section, it's kind of like, what am I doing? I'm making a skill check. Open the skills tab. Boom. It's the only thing that's on there. And something that's kind of cool, I don't know if you messed around with it, but sometimes you'll see a word on there, and if you don't know what it means, and it's not every word, but if you tap it, sometimes it'll open up a description of what it is.
No,
so,
I haven't
like,
seen that.
for the individual skills, if you tap them, it'll open up a bubble and explain what that is.
That's pretty cool.
When it has like the advantage marker, you tap it, boom, it explains advantage on rolls and things like that. It's really, really cool. It's just like a spider's web. Every line leads to something else.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. I do still, I think, prefer having a printed out character sheet.
Yeah.
Where I can take notes, keep track of HP just with a pencil, inventory. Of course, you can do all that on your computer too.
For sure,
but
for sure.
I don't know. There's something fun about having... See, the problem I had is my iPad's battery is horrible.
Yeah.
And after playing for an hour, it was plugged in over there, and we were playing here.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's your turn. It's like, get up, go grab the iPad, come back. It's at like 3%. Do my turn real quick. Walk back over, plug it back in. That was very frustrating.
Well, yeah, and I think in the past, that's a huge challenge we had with playing on laptops, and it's one of the reasons I hated when my players
Trying
were
to
using laptops.
fit them all on the table and plug them all in.
Yeah.
Then there's no room for the mat.
And
Or
it
snacks.
makes combat very... Oh my god, the snacks, yeah. Let us not spare the snacks just so we can play a game. Oh, man.
So it is still...
It makes it muddy.
Yeah. Pen and paper is still pencil and paper.
Yeah. And I will say
tried and true.
I like pencil and paper because I like that I have binders full of character sheets that I can look back on and remember those adventures.
The worst thing with that was then when you leveled up and you go to your online builder and then you have to print out another 4 pieces of paper just to change a few skills.
Because some sessions are more productive than others.
Right. Yeah. So it was nice that having it on the tablet, it's just like, boom, okay, level up, here's what's different, and it took no time at all. Didn't have to print and waste more paper. I hear voices.
Oh, yeah, that tripped me out. How about dice?
Dice,
What are your thoughts on dice? How many are too many?
I mean, okay, so I have 3 sets of dice, but I choose which one I'm going to play with at the beginning of the session, and I put the other ones away.
Okay.
So if it's something that requires 2d6s, I just roll the one that I have twice.
Gotcha.
So I'm not a fan of having like 4 of every dice. So if I need to do 3 for damage, I roll them all at the same time. I just roll 1, 2, 3. Because again, I think it clutters. Mm-hmm. The more dice your players have, the higher they're going to try to stack them.
Oh, that's how you know you got a bad session. The higher the dice are stacked, the worse off you are.
Yeah. And then, I mean, there's people that just don't even have dice, and they just have the app on their phone.
Yeah.
And they shake it.
My next question is what do you think about the dice apps? Have you ever used a dice app?
Yeah, I think once or twice.
Okay.
I didn't like it.
I think shortly after we first started playing, our Dungeon Master's like, guys, for those of you that don't have dice, you can download an app on your phone. And I remember trying it, and I did not like it. I like the physical act of rolling dice.
Which is, it's nice, because then you're not constantly like, hey, can I use your D20 again? And I'm like, God, okay. You know, you don't have to buy your own, which I think they're like $7.
Yeah, which...
It's not much.
Well, admittedly, I went a little overboard the last time I actually had a group that I was playing D&D with, and I thought like, oh, if there's ever a time when people don't bring dice, I want extras. So I went on Amazon, and I think I spent $12, and I got like 8 sets of dice. And they all came in like their bags and everything.
That's cheap.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Just buy your own dice.
But now I've just got this satchel filled with dice that I never use, because like I have I've gotten to the point where I take a variety as the spice of life sort of approach. And whenever I'm playing a new campaign...
Do you mix and match the colors?
I get OCD real bad. Oh my god. Do you not have dice OCD?
Oh, I do. I don't mix them.
I've got it real bad.
Yeah.
Like whenever
That's why I choose one set.
Yeah, when I see a player that has like one dice of every kind and they're all different colors, different textures, I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, it drives me nuts.
That's why I hated with our first campaign with Hefner.
Because we got that
He
pound
had the pound of dice, and it was up to us each time to pick out. And he let us all keep our D20, but all the other dice, we had different ones every time we were playing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, is that yours? Is that mine? Like,
yeah. So I started following a couple different people that have like D&D podcasts on Twitter, and somebody had posted the other day that they kind of had this similar conversation regarding dice, like how many is too many. And this person had said that what they do is whenever they have a new campaign they're a part of, when they roll a new character, they will carefully go out and look for dice that they think represents the character, and that is what they use for the character.
And that's pretty cool.
So the only time they get new dice is if they play a different character, which I think is awesome, and it adds a little more meaning to the dice themselves and to what you're playing.
Yeah, that is nice, though. With how many times we start and restart, we would have that's 40
true.
Pairs of dice.
That's true. You're not wrong there.
Because there's so many campaigns that just never make it past the first session. Mm-hmm. But that is a cool aspect if you're like, this is like part of this guy's equipment. Mm-hmm. Like he's going to have his sword and his stuff and his set of dice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So let's talk minifigures, for enemies, for players, because we've taken some creative approaches to this.
We've used coins, we've used bottle caps, we've used Legos, we've used other colored dice.
We've pretty much used everything but actual minifigures. For the first time in my life, I just bought a dual set of minifigures because they're barbarians. Because my favorite character I like to play is a Goliath barbarian, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna buckle down. I'm gonna get a minifigure for this one guy because he's the one I love playing as. I think he deserves it. I deserve it.
I think it would be cool for the enemies.
Yeah. That's like, it's so hard though, because when you have hordes, like you're always gonna have more enemies than players. So.
Or it's like you buy a set of minifigures and you have some like orcs and goblins and stuff, and it's like, this orc is actually a dragon or something, and it's like, no, it's not. But it's like, if it's a coin or a bottle cap, it can be whatever you tell them it is.
Yeah. Because you often get like dragons take up more spaces on the mat, because you have abilities that hit multiple squares, so it does damage to each square and things like that. And how we've done that in the past is at least how I've done it is I've gotten graph paper and I've cut out the amount of squares that I need to fit to occupy that space, and then like taped a bottle cap to it, and I'm like, here's a dragon.
Yeah, that works. It's just with the minifigures, I feel like if you're going to use them, you need to have all of what you're going to need.
That's arguably the most expensive part of the game.
Like you need to have minifigures for each of the enemies that you plan on using.
So, okay, out of our creative methods of using various items for enemies and players. Do you have like a favorite go-to item for displaying your own character or displaying like certain enemies?
When I DM, I use coins.
Okay.
And then just the Sharpie on the coin for what it is. You know, Goblin 1. You know, like what you would do with the bottle caps.
Yeah.
But I do it where if there's 4 goblins and 2 kobolds, then I'm going to have 4 quarters and 2 nickels. You know, so I still classify the coin like with like.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless it's like everybody's different. It's like, okay, there's only just so many types of coins here. But that's fun. I like the weight that they have.
Yeah.
They stay flat on the table.
If someone bumps the table.
Exactly.
Sorry, sound. Someone bumps the table, then yeah, they're not going to go moving.
Right. I know with the bottle caps we had trouble with like breezes every now and
things
then,
get
or
blown
like
over.
people.
If you roll your
things.
dice, it pushes all like the enemies and players' markers aside like that. That's probably the most frustrating
When
thing
people
that we've
roll the
had.
dice, yeah. So the coins are nice and like heavy and low, so they stay where they're supposed to be, and they're easy to move. You just put your finger on it, push them into the next square.
So what about DM screens? Because we have not always utilized those.
Yeah. For me, I have to have one now.
Yeah.
It's just keeping your papers hidden, keeping your maps or your notes for the next dungeon you're going to draw, or keeping your rolls hidden, you know, so people aren't actually seeing what you're rolling, just in case, you know, you have to lie a little bit for the sake of keeping the campaign alive.
It's just a natural part of being a dungeon master. You're always going to have that one player that decides he wants to do something that's not cool.
Or is always wanting to fact check the DM.
Yeah, that's really annoying.
You just need your privacy. And, you know, the stats on the back.
That's my favorite thing about DM screens, because especially when you have new players that aren't super familiar with all the terminology, whenever like you hit them with a sludge monster, they are now blinded. They're like, blinded? What does that mean? I can't swing? It's like, no. You just take a negative, and it says right here you can explain, like, this is what it means to be blinded. This is what it means to be prone. Things like that. Which, I mean, even as a dungeon master, you know, you've got a lot of things you're trying to keep track of, so it can escape your mind. Like, oh wait, what does this mean again?
It's just a quick reference guide.
Don't have to pull open a book. Don't have to Google it. It's just there.
Which this DM screen does not have those. It has different stats because this is for a specific campaign. But this one does have a map, which is really neat. A map of Faerun.
Yeah. Which, you know, I've always had this idea, like, wouldn't it be cool to make your own custom DM screen? You know?
Yeah,
and, like,
if you're doing like your own campaign that's not Forgotten Realms or anything, that would be cool. Like for the third world, if you had just taken some folders and put the map and put
I've got
like the
so much
stats
information on that world. So
you can
many
make
maps. One. I might as well at this point, honestly.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
That's a good idea. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you can think? Oh, actually, no. Speaking of maps in gameplay. This is the town you're in. This is the region. Like, how often do you use maps?
I always have a world map.
Okay.
I don't really give people a town map.
Okay. Interesting.
If they're like in a part of town, I'll just draw where they are
on the
grid on the mat itself. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just be like, this is the square. You want to go to the shops? This is what's there.
So I used to do that, but then I got to a point where it's like it takes so much time to draw out the town on the map. And we discussed that drawing on the mat itself can take up a huge chunk of your game. Where even the last session that I played with you when you were visiting, I've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, you're in town. Here's a map of the town. This is what you see around you. Where do you want to go? Yeah. It kind of it expedites the gameplay a lot, I think, and I also feel like it kind of gets players to be a little more thoughtful with where they're going and what they're going to do, because they might be like, oh well, we're on horses, so we should go to the stables. And the tavern's right here, so we might as well stop there, as opposed to let's just explore everything. And then they split, you know? And
then in-game, they can be like, we look at the map. So it's like their characters are also looking
at the map. So it's like every town you go into, someone's handing out brochures. Like, you are here.
Why not?
Yeah. So
I guess that's the like big materials.
Yeah.
Your sheet.
Your dice, your minifigures. So I think that's good for now. What do you guys think about different materials. Have you had any creative solutions to issues in your games where maybe somebody doesn't have dice or you can't print out character sheets? What do you guys like to do?
Are there materials that we didn't mention that you use on a regular basis for D&D? All that good stuff.
Yeah.
So let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching.